There's a room where two people sit across from each other. They don't speak. They don't text. They just look, and something strange happens. Something we've forgotten exists. A connection forms, not through words, not through explanations, but through silence. And it makes you wonder, what if the deepest connections we'll ever have don't need language at all? We live in a world that never stops talking. Messages, notifications, conversations layered on conversations. We're told that connection requires communication, that intimacy needs words, that understanding demands explanation. But there's a quieter truth hiding beneath all that noise. A truth that ancient cultures knew, that babies understand before they learn to speak, that lovers discover in the spaces between sentences. Connection might not be about what we say. It might be about what we allow ourselves to feel. When we finally stop trying to say anything at all, have you ever felt more alone in a conversation than in silence? Drop a comment if you know what I mean. In 1997, psychologist Arthur Aaron designed an experiment, 36 questions to make strangers fall in love. But here's what most people missed. After the questions, there was one final instruction. Sit in silence. Look into each other's eyes for 4 minutes. No talking, just presence. And participants reported that those 4 minutes felt more intimate than all 36 questions combined, as if silence wasn't the absence of connection. It was the purest form of it. But if silence creates connection, why do we fear it so much? Why do we rush to fill every gap in conversation? Why does awkward silence feel like failure? Maybe it's because silence reveals something we've learned to hide. Our uncertainty, our vulnerability, the fact that we don't always have answers. Words let us control the narrative. Silence forces us to simply be. And being without performing, without explaining, without defending, that's terrifying. Because it means being seen, exactly as we are. Think about it. Every conversation is a performance. We curate our words, choose our tone, edit ourselves in real time. We say what we think will land well, what makes us look interesting, thoughtful, put together. But in silence, there's nothing to curate. No punchline to land. No impressive insight to deliver. There's just you, unscripted, unfiltered, and the person across from you, seeing you without the safety of language. That's why silence feels dangerous, because it's honest, and honesty, we've learned, is risky. When was the last time you sat in complete silence with someone? Comment below. But here's what researchers discovered. When people sit in silence together, something remarkable happens. Their heart rates synchronize. Their breathing aligns. Mirror neurons activate. They begin to feel what the other person feels, without a single word being exchanged. It's as if beneath all our language, beneath all our carefully constructed explanations, there's a deeper channel of communication, one that doesn't require translation, one that existed long before we invented words, a connection that happens body to body, presence to presence, heart to heart. Neuroscientists call it neural coupling. When two people are truly present with each other, their brainwaves begin to mirror one another. The listener's brain starts to anticipate what the speaker will say, not because of the words, but because of a shared emotional state. And in silence, this coupling intensifies. It's as if our brains are designed to connect, not through information exchange, but through shared experience, through simply being in the same emotional space, together, without agenda, without interpretation, just existing, side by side. Sometimes words don't bring us closer, they push us apart. Someone's grieving and we say, "I understand." But do we? Someone's struggling and we offer solutions. But maybe they don't need fixing. They need witnessing. The irony is, the more we talk, the more we risk misunderstanding. Every word is filtered through our own experience, our own assumptions, our own need to be helpful. But silence has no agenda. It doesn't try to fix. It doesn't try to relate. It simply hold space. And sometimes, that's exactly what connection needs. Have you ever felt lonelier during a conversation than being alone? You're not the only one. Think back to the most meaningful moments of your life, the ones that changed you, that stayed with you. How many of them were filled with conversation? Maybe you sat with a friend who just lost someone they loved. You didn't know what to say, so you said nothing. You just stayed. Or maybe you watched the sunset with someone. No commentary needed. The beauty spoke for itself. Or held someone's hand in the hospital. No words could capture what you felt. Just presence. Those moments, we remember them not because of what was said, but because of what was shared in the space where words end. Watch a child meet another child. They don't interview each other. They don't exchange credentials. They just play. They exist in the same space, build something together, laugh at something silly. And connection happens. Naturally, effortlessly. Somewhere along the way to adulthood, we forgot this. We learned that connection requires credentials, shared interests, common ground. We turned relationships into networking, presence into performance, and we lost something essential. The ability to simply be with someone, without needing it to go anywhere, without needing it to mean something. Just being. We have more ways to communicate than ever before. Texts, calls, video chats, voice notes. Yet studies show we're lonelier than any generation in history. Why? Because we've replaced presence with availability. We're always reachable, but rarely present. We respond instantly, but barely listen. We share constantly, but reveal little. Connection isn't about how many messages we exchange. It's about whether we can sit with someone, turn off our phones, look them in the eye, and simply be there, fully, without distraction, without the compulsion to document or share. Just there. Put your phone down for 5 minutes today. See what you notice. I dare you. So how do we relearn this? How do we connect through silence? It starts with a choice. To resist the urge to fill every gap. To let the pause exist. To ask a question. And then actually wait for the answer. Not preparing your response. Not thinking about what you'll say next. Just listening. With your whole body, your whole attention. It means making eye contact, not as a technique, but as an acknowledgement. I see you. You exist. You matter. It means sitting with discomfort, because silence will feel awkward at first. But that awkwardness is just the unfamiliarity of intimacy. Silence asks us to be vulnerable, because when we stop talking, we stop controlling how we're perceived. We can't steer the narrative, can't charm our way through, can't intellectualize our emotions. We're just there, raw, real, uncertain. And that's where real connection begins. Not in our highlight reel, not in our best stories, but in the quiet admission that we don't have it all figured out, that we're scared sometimes, confused sometimes, lonely sometimes. Silence doesn't judge these truths. It welcomes them. It says, you don't need to be anything other than what you are, right now. There's a type of therapy called holding space. The therapist doesn't give advice, doesn't interpret, doesn't try to fix. They just sit with you, in your pain, in your confusion, in your grief. And something profound happens. When someone can be present with your darkness, without trying to turn on the lights, you feel less alone. Not because they solved anything, but because they proved that your pain doesn't make you unlovable, that you don't need to be okay to be worthy of connection. Sometimes the most healing thing someone can say is nothing at all. Indigenous cultures have always known this. The Quakers call it holding someone in the light. Buddhists call it compassionate presence. In many traditions, sitting in silence with elders is how wisdom is transmitted. Not through lectures, not through advice, but through shared presence. As if truth can't be taught through words. It can only be caught through proximity, through sitting close enough to someone that their peace their groundedness, their way of being, seeps into you. Silence isn't passive, it's the most active form of love, because it requires you to give the rarest gift of all, your undivided attention. Who taught you the most without saying a word? Tell their story below. So here's an invitation. The next time you're with someone you care about, try this. Put your phone away, turn off the TV, sit across from each other, and just be quiet for 1 minute, 2 minutes, however long feels right. Don't make it weird. Don't explain it. Just exist together and notice what happens. Notice the discomfort, the urge to speak, the stories your mind tells about the silence. And then, notice what comes after. The softening, the settling, the quiet recognition that you're not alone, that someone chose to simply be here, with you. That's connection, not despite the silence, but because of it. We started with a question. What if connection happens in silence? And maybe the answer is this. Connection doesn't require words. It requires presence. It doesn't need explanation. It needs acceptance. It doesn't demand understanding. It offers witness. In a world that tells us to speak up, stand out, make ourselves heard, maybe the most radical act is to shut up, to listen, to sit with someone in their uncertainty and not try to fix it, to be with them in their joy and not make it about you. Silence isn't the absence of communication, it's the presence of something deeper. So, maybe true connection isn't about finding the right words. Maybe it's about finding the courage to exist without them, to trust that your presence is enough, that you don't need to perform or explain or fill every gap, that sometimes the deepest thing you can offer another human being is your willingness to simply be quiet and stay. And maybe that's something to think about. What if it's different? If this made you feel something, leave a thought below. You never know who might need to read it.